In today's episode, we dive into the tough but essential topic of how to support a loved one through emotional struggles without sacrificing your own well being. We unpack what true support looks like, how to set loving boundaries, and why protecting your own peace is not selfish but necessary. With gentle reminders and practical tips, this episode is all about standing strong beside those we care for without dimming our own light. Tune in and discover how your healing journey can inspire theirs, one peaceful step at a time. Welcome back, or maybe thanks for finding us and giving us a listen. We're here to talk about some big stuff today, but as we always do, we'll try to break it down and try to find all the little things we can do to deal with those big stuff items. Today's episode, and it's a big one. It's one I didn't even have on my list to talk about yet. But it's something I've been thinking of, and these last few weeks, the universe kept pushing it in my way. So here we are. We're talking about something that's close to so many hearts: how to support a loved one, a family member, or friend who's struggling emotionally without losing yourself in the process. Chances are that you're already thinking of someone, or maybe a couple of someones, that are struggling. Whether it's what's going on in the world and everyone having different opinions that seem at odds with each other, may be concerned about losing their jobs or having their lives completely changed and out of their control. Maybe they're struggling because they too have a family member dealing with issues such as a partner or a child. And then it's the domino effect of pain that they're feeling and that you are feeling. And no one knows what to do to help each other. And sometimes we're too afraid to fail at helping that we don't even try. Or you keep trying, you keep offering solutions, nothing ever comes of it, and you're just so exhausted from it all, and you don't know what to do next for them or for you. So let's just sit with that for a second. Because if you're here, chances are you've been there. You've had someone in your life, maybe a partner, a parent, a best friend, who's going through it, and maybe still going through it. Anxiety, depression, overwhelm, maybe even trauma or grief. And you love them, you want to be there, but it's starting to feel like you're carrying more than you can hold. And if that sounds familiar, think about this person or persons, and do you then find yourself thinking now or in the past, am I helping them or am I enabling them? Why do I feel so drained from our interactions? And more importantly, is it okay to step back, but how and when? And if you're thinking or have thought these things recently, then let's work this through together and explore it a little bit. And let's see what we can focus on. Let's focus on what real support looks like. And remember, each person may have different levels and different types of support than you might think of. We'll talk about how to set loving boundaries so you can help without drowning, and maybe when to step back and how to do it without feeling so darn guilty or that you're not loving them enough. And how do you keep your peace while being present for someone in pain? How do you create space for support without absorbing so much of their pain? So let's get started. And let me first say, most of these podcasts are as much for me as they are for you. And today it's especially true. I need to hear this and remind myself as well, based on my own experiences. Loving someone who's struggling can be such an emotional roller coaster. One minute you're pouring your heart out trying to lift them up, the next you're questioning if it's even helping or if it's falling on deaf ears. And somewhere along the way, your own emotional needs start fading into the background, or in being involved in helping them with their pain. And sometimes their pain has rebounded and caused you to be in pain as well. But they're so fragile and need so much. How do you deal with your own pain without making it all about you? First, let me say, you're not making it about you. And it's okay to know your limits and what you do or don't need and make that a priority. That does not make you a bad partner, friend, or family member. It makes you human. We're all wired for empathy. We want to connect, we want to help. But the truth is, you can't heal someone else's pain for them. You can support them, you can encourage them, you can listen, but healing is something only they can do themselves. And trying to take charge of someone else's healing will only leave you feeling exhausted overwhelmed, and let's be honest, sometimes even resentful. The key thing we need to remember is that support isn't about fixing someone, it's about being with them while they fix themselves. So, what does healthy, grounded, soul nourishing support for them and for you really look like? First of all, support does not mean self sacrifice. We think being there means always being there and available, or that we have to put our own life on pause to tend to someone else's struggle. But that's not support, or at least it's not healthy, sustainable support. That's self abandonment. Support is about being present, not being pressured. Now, in many ways, it's not them pressuring you, but you pressuring you. It's about walking beside someone, not walking for them. And support sometimes is just letting them know, I see you, I hear you, and you are not alone. But what does that mean, really? How do you do that? Where are the lines so you don't abandon yourself? So here's some thoughts: checking in regularly, but also respecting their space. They may not want to see you yet, but just knowing you're there for them may be enough. Letting them vent without offering unsolicited advice, or, as I have to force myself not to do, to offer a solution or a fix. Sometimes it's just that they need to get things out and let off steam. They're not trying to fix it, they just want to talk about it. Recognizing and celebrating those tiny wins and acts of self care that they've taken, especially the ones they don't even realize are self care, like getting out of the house or taking a walk. And encouraging professional help if that's what may be needed, and reminding them that that is a strong and beautiful step if they need to take it. But also, real support includes supporting yourself too, because it's easy to cross the line from support into self sacrifice and not even realize it, especially when your heart is all in, and especially if this person plays a significant role in your life, like a child or a spouse or partner. You hate to see them in pain and struggling, and all you want to do is help them. So let's talk about the warning signs and some red flags that might mean you've gone from support mode into survival mode. First, you feel guilty taking time for yourself. You hesitate to unplug the phone and turn it off just in case they need you. You don't go out with friends or even relax because you feel like you're abandoning them. The second, their emotions dictate your mood. If they're down, you're down. If they're angry, you're walking on eggshells. You're constantly looking to them to figure out how you should feel, react, or even start your day. Next, you've stopped talking about your own needs. The relationship starts to revolve entirely around their pain, and there's no time or conversation about what you need, where you fit into their life when the pain is taking up so much space. And maybe you feel burned out, resentful, or emotionally numb. You love them, but you're exhausted. And you're avoiding your own life. You've stopped prioritizing your goals, your self care, or joy. You're focusing so much on them and ensuring they are doing what they need to do for themselves that you make no time to do the same for yourself. Those signs don't mean you're failing. What they mean is that you need support as well, and you're allowed to have that. In fact, you deserve to have that. So, how do you start setting boundaries so you can commit to your own self care? Boundaries can sometimes feel like a negative word, especially if you're empathetic or deeply loyal. It can feel like you're trying to shut them out. But boundaries aren't about pushing someone away. They're about staying connected in a way that doesn't destroy you. If you think of your emotional energy like a battery, if you're constantly drained, eventually you shut down because there's nothing left. Boundaries are what help you stay charged enough to not only take care of yourself, but to create more space to support them as well. So, how do you create boundaries with actually saying that, not saying that? Because sometimes just stating what a boundary is can feel negative. But here's what you can offer: saying something like, I want to support you, but I can't talk about heavy stuff every night. I need time to recharge. Maybe I care about you, but I feel like I'm in over my head and I don't think I'm giving you the help you need. Have you thought about maybe talking to a therapist? And maybe it's okay to feel how you feel, but it's not okay to take it out on me. And for this one, don't be afraid to walk away and say that. I'm leaving for now and we can try and talk about this later when you're ready. One of the things that can feel particularly hard is when the person puts in their own boundaries. So, for example, maybe they know they need some space to process and deal with their own emotional well being. And as much as you think you're helping, maybe they need time on their own. And in that case, you may be feeling like, well, why are they not coming to me when they need support? Why am I not their person for that? And of course, you now have to deal with your own emotional struggle of not being around that person and wondering if they're okay. And sometimes that can be the hardest, to trust that they know themselves and what they need. And don't take it as a slap in your face that you are not the be all end all savior. That's just your ego talking in those cases. In recovery circles, there's a phrase that applies to this, and it's detach with love. It means you care deeply without taking over. You can stand with someone without standing in for them. I know it's hard to see someone struggle, but you also have to realize their struggle and the way through for them, for what they need to feel, for what they need to learn, is maybe what they need to grow and evolve. And you need to support their growth as they live their own journey. You're not their therapist. You're not their savior. You're not their emotional regulator. You are you, and that's enough. So, what does detaching with love mean? What will that look like? It could be letting go of trying to change their mood, letting go of the guilt of not doing enough or wishing you could do more. It could be trusting that they have their own path, like letting them take their time and space they need, and finally choosing peace over control. Remember, you can't do their healing for them, but your presence, your calm, grounded energy, can remind them and show them that healing is possible. But what happens when the person struggling is no longer leaning on you, but instead holding on to you as the one to take things out on? Sometimes emotional struggle shows up as manipulation, volatility, abuse, and that's when you have to make some immediate changes, no matter how much love we feel. If they blame you for their emotional state, if they guilt trip you for setting your boundaries, if they lash out at you regularly and blame their pain, or just refuse to get help or make any changes and use you as their emotional outlet, well, it might be time to step back or step away. You are allowed to protect your peace, and you're most certainly allowed, and in fact must choose your own safety over obligation or whatever other reason you allow those behaviors. You do not have to destroy yourself to be a good person. And let me say that again. You never have to destroy yourself or abandon your own safety or self care just to care for someone else. If you're still in a place where you want to support someone, but also honor yourself, here's a few suggestions to keep both you and them emotionally safe and supported. Create a check in time and set times or limits that work for you both. Like, let's check in every evening at 7, but I really can't respond to late night texts right now. I really need my sleep. Maybe normalizing help outside of you and reminding them it's totally okay to talk to a counselor or therapist. It doesn't mean you're broken, it means you're brave. Practice some reflective listening. So instead of problem solving, which again is one of my downfalls, try, well, that sounds really overwhelming. How are you feeling about it now? Or just, I hear you. That makes total sense. I can understand and imagine how difficult this must be for you. Giving from your overflow and not your reserve. What I mean by that is make self care non negotiable. That might mean yoga, journaling, therapy, long walks for yourself, whatever helps you stay full. Remember, you cannot fill from an empty cup. And don't be afraid to reassess. It's okay to pause and say, is this the way that we're doing things? Is it still healthy for both of us? It's okay to evolve your support. When you start setting boundaries, taking space, or pulling back from the intense emotional caretaking, you might feel guilty, and that's normal. But guilt doesn't always mean you're doing something wrong. Sometimes guilt is just a sign that you're breaking a pattern, one where you put yourself last. So lovingly reframe that guilt and instead remind yourself you're not abandoning them. You're choosing to support both of you with kindness and care. So thank you for showing up today and supporting yourself just by listening. And I hope you share this with someone who might need it, someone who needs this reminder that there is a way to hold space for both their loved one and themselves. And as we wrap up, I want to leave you with this. Supporting someone doesn't mean you dim your own light. It means you shine brightly beside them so they know they're not alone in the dark. But your light matters too. Your peace matters. Your energy flow matters. Your joy matters. You're allowed to keep living, dreaming, and growing, even when someone you love is struggling. Because guess what? Your healing helps theirs. Your calm helps theirs. Your wholeness helps everyone, little by little and piece by piece. This podcast is based on my own life experiences. I'm not a therapist, a psychologist, psychiatrist, or any other licensed medical professional. Please share this podcast with anyone you think needs to hear this so that we all move forward, little by little and piece by piece. And thank you, Purple Planet, for sharing your music.